Story 1. This happened to me. Mark and I found our dream suburban home, excited for a fresh start. We envisioned peace. Moving day chaos. As we wrestled a sofa, a friendly voice called, "Need a hand?" It was Mr. Henderson. Our neighbor, Mr. Henderson, kind-faced, unnervingly perfect. He helped Mark, his handshake firm and welcoming. He brought apple pie that evening. "Welcome," he beamed. "Need anything, just ask, I'm around." His warmth infectious. We felt instantly at ease, struck gold. He offered local tips, handyman recommendations. First weeks a blur. Mr. Henderson consistently helpful, always knowing what we needed. Uncanny. One morning, a lawnmower. Mr. Henderson meticulously mowed our lawn. He waved, just helping out. Mark was delighted. What a guy. We thanked him, appreciative of his unsolicited kindness. I mentioned needing a wrench. Next day, a new one appeared on our porch with his note. "Thought this might come in handy." Exactly what I needed. A tiny flicker of unease began. His helpfulness omnipresent, taking recycling, bringing mail, always perfectly timed, one step ahead. Mark joked, "Crystal ball." We laughed, but the jokes felt forced hollow. Struggling with potting soil, he appeared. "Let me get that for you, dear," he said. Always dear or sweetie. His paternalistic gaze lingered. I felt observed, not helped. We felt pressure, constantly performing. Every outdoor trip, he appeared with a comment. We discussed paint colors inside. Next day he commented, "Decided on sage green." My blood ran cold. How could he know? Mark dismissed it, but we knew. Comments grew specific. "Nice dress yesterday." Unnerving accuracy suggested close observation. I felt self-conscious, watched. I closed curtains, even by day, a new habit. Mark noticed. "Too much," he whispered. "A fishbowl, our dream home, a cage." Constant observation settled, a heavy cloak of paranoia. We whispered, even in bed. Small things out of place. A garden gnome turned towards our door, dismissed it. I locked the kitchen window, yet it was slightly ajar. My heart pounded. We checked locks multiple times, a ritual of dread, every creak shadow amplified. I caught Mr. Henderson watching, prolonged, unblinking stares from his garden. He'd prune roses, but his head wouldn't move, gaze unwavering. Then a smile. Once I saw him standing still, staring into our drawn bedroom window, chilling. We tried subtle confrontation. "You're out a lot, Mark," he chuckled, tidy. His denials plausible, unconvincing. "Admiring your flowers," he'd say, eyes on me. We felt trapped. Sanctuary became surveillance, freedom replaced by suffocating scrutiny. Psychological toll immense, nerves frayed, every sound a jolt of fear, on edge. "You're imagining things," Mark said, then retracted. We questioned our sanity. His knowing gaze followed, even unseen. Intuition of his presence just beyond sight. Privacy eroded, intimate conversations stopped, lives a performance, dehumanizing. Moving felt unbearable. Our dream home, we couldn't abandon it, let him win. Paranoia monstrous. I checked for footprints, trash tampering. He collected information. He picked up a fallen leaf, inspected it, pocketed it. A sinister act. We left subtle traps, hair across door, book angled. Next morning, disturbed. Terror tangible, someone violated our space. Vulnerable, exposed, safety shattered. Couldn't sleep, every shadow lurking figure, every creak footstep, home a nightmare. One night faint scraping woke me, heart leaped, Mark asleep. I crept out of bed, scraping from window, dread coiled. Peeking, I saw Mr. Henderson's face pressed against our window, staring in. Silent scream, I stumbled, waking Mark. "What is it?" he whispered. "He's at the window." Mark rushed, curtains open. He was gone, but impression remained. Next morning, fueled by terror, we marched to his house. "You were at our window." His charm shattered, eyes hardened. Checking on my favorite neighbors, he purred, chilling smile. "You belong here," he hissed. "Keep you safe, my home is yours always." Twisted love terrified. Police called, no proof of harm, they gave a stern warning. He smiled politely. Sold our home at a loss, moved far away, paranoia never left, his gaze haunts. Story 2, I'll never forget moving into my dream home. A quiet suburban oasis, it promised peace. But the house next door, overgrown and silent, always felt off. Mr. Silas, its reclusive owner, was a mystery I wished I'd never tried to solve. My realtor just chuckled about Mr. Silas, calling him eccentric. But there was something more than eccentricity in the way his curtains stayed drawn, the way no light ever seemed to escape his windows, even at night. The house itself was a dark blot on the otherwise pristine street. Its paint peeled, the roof sagged, and the garden was a tangled, wild mess of thorny bushes and shadowy trees. It was an eyesore, a silent sentinel. I tried to be a good neighbor, waving once when I saw a fleeting shadow in his window. No wave back, just the quick disappearance of the figure, leaving me with an unsettling chill. The other neighbors offered hushed warnings about Mr. Silas. Keeps to himself, one said, never leaves his property, another whispered. Their words only fueled my growing, unwelcome curiosity about what secrets that house held. Then the sounds began, faint at first. After midnight, a low, rhythmic thumping like a dull drumbeat. It was too soft to complain about, but too persistent to ignore. I'd lie awake, straining to identify it. Not construction, not music. It had an organic quality, a deep resonance that seemed to vibrate through the very ground. I knew it was coming from Silas's yard. Soon, whispers joined the rhythm. Not words exactly, but a low, sibilant murmur like dry leaves rustling or a distant, mournful wind. It sounded almost communal, as if multiple voices were involved. This happened to me. I'd pull my curtains shut, trying to block out the unsettling symphony, but the sounds seeped through the walls, invading my peaceful home, turning my dream into a nightmare. My sleep grew fractured, haunted by the distant thrum and the phantom whispers. I started seeing shadows darting in my periphery, convinced the sounds were somehow drawing closer, becoming more distinct. One morning, while watering my own garden, I noticed something new in Silas's yard. Not just wild growth, but deliberate arrangements. Twisted branches, bound together with coarse twine, stood like skeletal sentinels. Among the thorny bushes, small bundles of dried, dark herbs hung from low branches. Their scent, when the wind shifted, was earthy and strangely cloying, like something ancient and forgotten. Then I saw the effigies, crude humanoid shapes fashioned from sticks and what looked disturbingly like animal bones, adorned with feathers and scraps of dark cloth. They seemed to watch my house. I tried to rationalize it, a strange hobby, perhaps. But the effigies were too unsettling, too deliberately placed, their presence amplifying the sinister atmosphere of Mr. Silas's backyard. This wasn't just gardening. I started avoiding my own backyard, feeling constantly observed. The effigies seemed to shift in my peripheral vision, their vacant bone eyes following me. The peace of my home was utterly shattered. The smells began next. A peculiar, sickly sweet odor, like decaying flowers mixed with something metallic, began to permeate the air, especially after dusk. It was nauseating and utterly alien. The low whispers from Silas's yard grew louder, morphing into distinct, guttural chants. They were repetitive, primal, completely devoid of any recognizable language, yet filled with a chilling, raw intent. I'll never forget that night. The chants pulsed, the rhythm intensified, and the sickly sweet smell thickened until it coated my tongue. It felt like something ancient and malevolent was awakening next door. Sleep became impossible. The sounds and smells were a constant assault, pushing me to the brink of my sanity. I paced my house, heart pounding, desperate for an explanation, any explanation. The police dismissed my concerns as neighborly disputes or overactive imagination. They found nothing, saw nothing, but I knew something truly horrific was unfolding in Mr. Silas's garden. Overcoming my paralyzing fear, a desperate need for answers propelled me. One moonless night, armed with a flashlight and trembling resolve, I crept towards the fence separating our properties. The rhythmic thumping was clear now, the chance almost audible words. My heart hammered against my ribs. I found a loose knot in the wood, a small peephole into the horror beyond. What I saw froze me. Mr. Silas, a gaunt silhouette, moved slowly in the center of his yard. He was performing ritualistic movements around a central, oddly disturbed patch of earth. He wore a dark, hooded robe, his face obscured. His hands, though, were clearly visible, making strange, deliberate gestures over the disturbed ground, almost like he was coaxing something from it. The chants swelled, and I realized they were coming from him, a low, guttural drone that seemed to vibrate his entire being. The air grew heavy, thick with the sickly sweet stench. Days later, a violent storm raged. Wind howled, rain lashed, and thunder shook the very foundations of my house. I huddled inside, hoping it would wash away the evil next door. A deafening crack echoed from the backyard. My heart leaped. I peered out, flashlight in hand. A section of the old wooden fence had splintered and collapsed, ripped away by the storm. There, in the storm's momentary lull, the full horror was revealed. Not just a disturbed patch of earth, but a grotesque, pulsing, vaguely organic mass shimmering faintly in the moonlight. It was enormous, rooted deep in the ground, its surface slick and mottled, resembling ancient, diseased flesh. Tendrils like thick, dark veins snaked out from its base, disappearing into the soil. The sickly sweet odor was overpowering now, radiating directly from this monstrous growth. It was the smell of decay, yes, but also of something terribly alive, something that shouldn't be. Around the pulsing mass, I saw them, small, freshly dug mounds arranged in a chilling circle. Each mound was about the size of a child's grave, freshly turned earth, devoid of any plant life. A sickening realization dawned on me. The effigies weren't just decorations, they were guardians. The herbs, the chants, all part of some unspeakable ritual to nurture this thing. The rhythmic thumping, the whispers, they emanated from the mass itself, a slow, steady beat like a colossal, diseased heart. It was breathing, growing, demanding. I could feel its presence, a cold, hungry malevolence radiating outwards, filling the storm-swept night. It wasn't just a plant, it was an entity, a horror beyond comprehension. The mounds, they weren't just mounds. A flash of lightning illuminated a small, half-buried object near one, a child's toy. My blood ran cold, a scream trapped in my throat. As if summoned by my terror, a figure emerged from the dense shadows near the back of Mr. Silas's house. It was him, no longer a fleeting shadow but a gaunt, terrifying reality. He moved with an unnatural slowness, his head tilted slightly as if listening to an unheard command. His eyes, when they finally met mine across the broken fence, were utterly vacant, devoid of human warmth. A rasping sound, barely a whisper, escaped his lips. "It thrives," he croaked, his voice dry and ancient. "My garden, it cultivates more than just plants, it requires sustenance." He gestured towards the pulsing mass with a long, bony finger. A living entity, a harvest unlike any other. It feeds, and it grows. His eyes, still vacant, seemed to hold an ancient, terrible pride. The implication hit me like a physical blow. The mounds, the toy, the whispers, it wasn't just a plant. It was a predator, and Mr. Silas was its devoted, insane gardener, providing offerings to its insatiable hunger. Terror seized me. I didn't scream, couldn't. I turned and ran, scrambling back to my house, tripping over roots and rocks. The image of his vacant eyes burned into my mind. I locked every door, every window, pulling curtains tight, but I could still feel its presence, hear the faint, rhythmic thrumming deep in my bones. I called the police, my voice a ragged whisper. They came, of course, two officers, skeptical and annoyed. They found the broken fence panel, but the garden, it was gone. The mass, the mounds, the effigies vanished without a trace. Mr. Silas was gone too. His house, once foreboding, was now just an empty, overgrown shell. The police concluded I'd suffered a psychotic break. They couldn't see what I saw. But I knew what I had witnessed was real. The memory of his garden, the sickly sweet scent, and the chilling whispers were etched into my soul, a permanent scar. I couldn't stay. The house, my dream home, had become a prison of fear. I packed what I could, leaving behind the whispers and the lingering scent of decay. I moved far away. Years have passed. I live in a different state, in a quiet apartment. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear it. A faint, rhythmic thrumming just beneath the threshold of hearing. And the smell, occasionally a sudden, sickly sweet odor will waft past me, even indoors, bringing with it a wave of nausea and a cold dread that chills me to the bone. I often wonder what became of Mr. Silas. Did he find a new garden? Is he still cultivating his monstrous entity, feeding its insatiable hunger in some unsuspecting neighborhood? The Neighbor's Whispering Garden. It's a story I tell no one, a secret horror that continues to grow within me, because I know, deep in my soul, that some harvests never truly end. Story 3. My suburban cul-de-sac life was quiet, predictable. I cherished normalcy. Then Mrs. Gable, my elderly neighbor. Mrs. Gable lived next door forever, her presence a comforting fixture like the old oak tree in her yard. I'd see her tending roses or collecting mail, a sweet, frail woman, a quiet cornerstone. I never imagined her absence. One crisp autumn morning, the ambulance came. Her passing was sudden, peaceful, but it tore our quiet street. After the funeral, the house became vacant, silent, a monument draped in stillness, growing heavier daily. Weeks drifted by, life returned to rhythm, but the empty house was always there, watching. Then I noticed small, dismissible things. My mind worked hard to explain them away, to maintain peace. A faint flicker of light in Mrs. Gable's living room late at night, just a second, car reflections, I told myself. I saw it from my bedroom before drawing curtains, a tiny spark, imagination playing tricks. Then a shadow, a fleeting shape behind lace curtains upstairs, too tall for an animal, I thought uneasily. I convinced myself streetlights, the moon, anything but my guts whisper, anything but truth. My mind worked overtime, wind, illusion, residual energy. I needed to believe it was just my fatigue. The house was empty, it had to be. No one bought it, no one renting, a certainty I clung to. Just an old house settling, I repeated. Houses make noises, lights flicker, shadows dance, nothing supernatural. I tried to forget, dismiss the prickle, return to quiet life, but unease was already sown deep. Occurrences became more frequent, not faint flickers but distinct lights, harder to ignore, impossible to rationalize. Almost nightly, light in kitchen, then gone. Bedroom window briefly lit, then dark again. Lights on in different rooms, then off, never for long, always as I looked away as if it knew. This happened several times, a chilling peekaboo played by an unseen entity next door. I'll never forget the distinct silhouette, no trick of light, definite, unmistakable, unsettling. Tall, unnaturally slender, moving slowly behind a curtain in Mrs. Gable's study, too fluid for human. My breath caught, not a reflection, something asterisk in asterisk that house, something not human. Curtain shifted, settled, silhouette gone, but the image burned, I knew, chilled to the bone. My heart pounded, sleep a luxury. The house was no longer empty, it was occupied. I couldn't explain it, that inability was terrifying. This was real, happening to me. Then the sound, one night, a faint, melancholic melody, drifting from the supposedly empty house. Like an old music box, beautiful and sad, carrying ancient sorrow. Subtle, a whisper, undeniable. It permeated stillness, pulling me to my window. The moment I focused, it stopped, abruptly, as if the player knew I listened. Silence was heavier, charged. It wasn't just there, it was aware, playing with me. I started actively watching, sleep disintegrated, every creak, shadow, flicker, scrutinized. Lights on and off, shadows moved. Now it felt different, responding to my presence, my gaze. Unsettling feeling, it knew I watched. A silent conversation across the yards. The music, once random, played only when I was in my yard or looking out. A personal serenade. It was an invitation, a beckoning. The horror wasn't just happening, but drawing me in. Then its focus shifted, not content with the house, it was reaching out. For me, this happened. My back gate ajar one morning, I'd latched it, a jolt of ice through me. A living room window locked, now slightly open, a sliver enough for cold air. A cold spot in my hallway, not a draft but frigid air, its tangible mark inside my home. Music from next door felt personal, beckoning. Shadows appeared in windows facing my bedroom. I woke in the dead of night, not to shadows, not to music next door, but to a sound. Mrs. Gable's melancholic music, not from next door, but my own living room, clear as day, inside. I crept out of bed, heart pounding, floorboards creaked, breath hitched, pure dread. Rounded the corner, saw it, my front door slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness yawned. There, beyond threshold, a tall, indistinct shadow, facing my house, music a chilling lullaby. Utterly still, a profound void, melancholic melody from its form, a spectral symphony. Slowly, it turned its head towards me, felt it, no eyes, an ancient hungry gaze. No features, no face, just an abyss that stared back, colder than winter. I was prey, it found me. I slammed, locked the door, fumbling deadbolt, barricaded, safety gone, shattered, irretrievable. The vacant house remains. Music, shadows, feeling of being watched never leave. It's still there, aware, a predatory neighbor, forever waiting. Story 4. This happened to me. We moved to a quiet suburban home, hoping for a fresh start. The kids were excited and the house had a big yard. Everything felt perfect, a true new beginning for our family. Our excitement was short-lived. A week later, a new neighbor moved in next door. He was a solitary man, middle-aged, with a quiet demeanor. I remember watching him unload his moving truck. Then I saw the dog. It was enormous, a dark, imposing creature that looked like a mastiff or a Great Dane, but somehow different. It moved with an eerie silence, even for such a large animal. The dog's eyes were what unnerved me most. They held an intelligence that was far too human, a deep, unsettling gaze that seemed to pierce right through me. It wasn't just looking, it was watching. From that first encounter, a knot of unease formed in my stomach. It wasn't just a dog, it felt like an extension of the silent, watchful presence next door. Our fresh start already felt tainted. The dog, which I never heard bark, became a constant fixture. I'd see it in the neighbor's yard, always facing our house. It would just sit there, motionless for hours, its gaze unwavering. Its silence was the most disturbing aspect. No barks, no growls, no whimpers, just profound, absolute quiet. It moved like a shadow, making no sound as it patrolled the perimeter of their property. My wife Sarah started noticing it too. "That dog is always watching us," she'd say, a shiver in her voice. Our children, especially little Lily, were openly afraid of it. Its stillness was unnatural. Most dogs fidget, sniff, or react to sounds. This one was a statue, a living gargoyle, observing our every move with unnerving patience. I'd catch glimpses of it at odd hours, late at night, early morning, always in the same watchful pose. It felt like an extension of the neighbor's own quiet, unsettling presence. The kids started avoiding the backyard, claiming the big black dog gave them bad feelings. Their innocent fear only amplified my own growing sense of dread. I tried to rationalize it, telling myself it was just a strange breed, maybe poorly socialized. but deep down, I knew it was more than that. This was different. The dog's unnerving intelligence was a constant presence. Those eyes followed us even when its body was still. It felt like it was assessing, calculating. It never barked, not even at the mailman or other dogs. It was a silent guardian, or perhaps a silent predator, and the thought sent chills down my spine. The discomfort grew into a palpable tension within our home. We started closing curtains earlier and checking locks more frequently, a quiet paranoia settling in. Then the news began to spread. First, it was Mrs. Henderson's cat Mittens gone missing without a trace. Then the miller's terrier Buster. Neighborhood gossip quickly turned to worried whispers. Pets were disappearing, not just running away. There were no signs of struggle, no collars found, just gone. The disappearances escalated. Another cat, then a small poodle. A wave of fear rippled through our once peaceful community. People started keeping their pets indoors. I couldn't help but notice the timing. The disappearances started shortly after the neighbor and his dog arrived. A chilling coincidence, or something far more sinister? The local online forum was ablaze with theories. Coyotes, a new predator, but everyone secretly felt it was something else, something unnatural. The palpable tension was suffocating. Children were kept inside and walks became quick, wary dashes. Our neighborhood felt under siege by an unseen threat. My wife and I looked at each other, unspoken fear in our eyes. Our own cat, Whiskers, a fluffy ginger tabby, was precious to us. We kept him inside constantly. Every time I saw that silent dog, a cold dread gripped me. Could it be responsible? The thought was monstrous, but its eerie presence fueled my darkest suspicions. The fear among pet owners was intense. People were installing cameras, putting up extra fencing, but nothing seemed to deter whatever was taking the animals. This wasn't just about missing pets anymore. It was about a silent, creeping terror that had invaded our once safe suburban haven. We felt watched, vulnerable. Then came the scratches on our back fence. Deep gouges, too high for a normal dog, as if something incredibly strong had tried to scale it. My heart pounded. I found them one morning. Jagged marks clawed into the top of the 6-foot privacy fence. They looked fresh, as if made just hours before. Who or what did this? I started seeing shadows, not just ordinary shadows, but distinct, almost human-like forms moving silently in our yard at night. They were too large to be raccoons. These shadows were fast, fluid, and utterly silent. They would flit between trees, disappear behind bushes, leaving me questioning my own sanity. I'd stare out the window, heart racing, convinced I saw something, only for it to vanish. Was it my imagination, or was something truly lurking in the darkness? Our ginger cat Whiskers became increasingly agitated. He'd pace frantically, his fur bristling, hissing at unseen things outside the back door, his eyes wide with terror. He wouldn't go near the windows or the back door. He would just stare, growling low in his throat at empty space. It was heartbreaking to see him so terrified. One night I woke to a terrible screech, a sound I'll never forget. It was Whiskers, a sound of pure agony, abruptly cut short. My blood ran cold. I rushed downstairs, but it was too late. The back door was ajar. Whiskers was gone, just an empty, cold silence and the lingering scent of fear. The loss of Whiskers shattered us. It wasn't just a pet, it was family, and I knew with a horrifying certainty who was responsible: the silent dog. After Whiskers disappeared, I started seeing the dog inside our yard. Not just near the fence, but closer, sometimes right by the back porch, always silent, always watching. It moved like a phantom, appearing and disappearing without a sound. One moment it was there, a dark, hulking shape. The next, it was gone, leaving only the chilling emptiness. Its presence felt like a deliberate taunt. It knew we were afraid. It knew what it had done. Its eyes, even from a distance, seemed to gleam with malevolent triumph. I tried to talk to the neighbor about his dog's wandering. I approached him, heart pounding, determined to get answers. He was watering his garden, oblivious. He listened, then offered a chilling, dismissive smile. "Oh, he just likes to explore," he said, his voice flat. "He's a very old companion, takes good care of things." My blood ran cold. That night, I installed motion-activated security cameras around our entire property. I needed proof. I needed to know what was truly happening. Days passed, nothing. Then one night, the camera captured it. The dog. It wasn't walking across our lawn. It was gliding, an unnaturally smooth, silent motion. It paused directly in front of the camera and stared. Its eyes, in the infrared footage, glowed with an eerie, otherworldly light. It was looking directly at me through the lens. Then it simply vanished. Not ran, not walked away, but dissolved into the shadows as if it was never truly there. My hands trembled as I watched. But the footage held another horror. Briefly, the neighbor appeared, standing silently in his yard, making an almost imperceptible gesture towards our house, then retreating into the darkness. Armed with this terrifying proof, I confronted the neighbor again, footage on my phone. His smile was gone. His eyes were cold, calculating. "I told you," he said, his voice a low, chilling whisper. "He's a very old companion, and he takes care of things. Your little cat was merely a nuisance." He stepped closer. "Some things are better left undisturbed. You wouldn't want to find out how far his reach truly extends, would you?" It was a direct threat. Our lives were in danger. We put the house on the market the next day, sold it for a loss, and moved far away. But the image of that silent, watchful dog and the neighbor's sinister smile haunts us still. We live with the unsettling knowledge that true evil can wear the guise of a domestic animal, commanded by an ordinary-looking man. We barely escaped its silent predation, and I'll never forget that night. Story 5. I bought my dream fixer-upper, a fresh start. My only concern, Mr. Abernathy, my reclusive neighbor, his overgrown property loomed. During basement renovations, on a shared wall, I noticed it. An odd patch of brickwork, too uniform, too new for this old house. Curiosity piqued. An inexplicable cold draft emanated from that patch. It was unsettling. I felt compelled to investigate further, a growing unease in my gut. Days of careful work followed. I chipped away at the newer mortar. This was a deliberate concealment, not just old repairs. A secret awaited. Finally, a brick loosened. A small gap revealed only darkness. The cold draft intensified, carrying a faint, sickly sweet metallic scent. I widened the opening. A meticulously bricked-up doorway appeared. Behind it, a narrow, winding passage led deeper beneath the earth. It clearly extended into Abernathy's property. Armed with a flashlight, I hesitated, but a chilling dread and curiosity pulled me inside. The air was thick with dust. The metallic, sickly sweet scent clung. It was unnatural, profoundly wrong. My heart pounded in my chest. The passage twisted, earth giving way to stone. My light danced, revealing claustrophobic walls. Then, a faint opening ahead, a hidden room. It was a small, crude room. My flashlight revealed rusted medical instruments on a makeshift table. My blood ran cold instantly. Restraints, heavy chains, and cuffs bolted to the stone walls and floor. My mind struggled to process this. A cold dread seeped in. On a dusty shelf, empty, labeled specimen jars. Subject Alpha, Phase 3, Purification. My stomach churned at the implications. The metallic scent here was overwhelming. It mixed with something organic, putrid. This was a horror, a place of unspeakable acts. Hidden in a dusty cabinet, I found them. Leather-bound journals, worn covers, brittle pages filled with decades of secrets. I opened one, my fingers trembling. Precise, elegant handwriting detailed experiments on subjects, chilling detachment. Entries spoke of purification, transmutation in new forms, not science but madness, a terrifying descent into inhumanity. Dates aligned with local unsolved disappearances. A horrifying puzzle piece clicked into place. The truth was sickening. Mr. Abernathy, my quiet, eccentric neighbor, he was a monster. The realization hit me like a physical, gut-wrenching blow. The terror burrowed deep. I started hearing things. Faint, unidentifiable noises from beneath my floorboards, especially at night. A soft scratching, a low thud. I tried to rationalize, but the sounds were too deliberate, too persistent, too knowing. A constant sense of being watched, a prickling on my neck, unseen eyes. My sanctuary was now a terrifying, claustrophobic cage. Every creak, every shadow became a threat. My nerves frayed. Sleep brought only nightmares of the crude room and its horrors. A final journal entry years ago. Successful transformation, new generation of consciousness emerges. My blood ran cold. This wasn't abandoned. Abernathy was active or had just stopped, leaving his creations behind. The chilling thought lingered. I searched the room again, a hidden compartment in the stone wall. I found it, cleverly disguised, waiting to be opened. Inside, small, custom-built cages. Metal, intricate locks, too small for adults, too robust for animals. What were they for? On one cage floor, a petrified human tooth. Small, childlike, it confirmed the horrific scale of Abernathy's atrocities. My mind reeled from the evil, my dream home, a gateway to unimaginable nightmares. Fear suffocated me. Then a faint scratching echoed from the passage. Not my floorboards, deeper within Abernathy's dark secret. A low, guttural moan followed, not human, something twisted, unnatural, desperate, lurking in the profound darkness. The metallic scent intensified, sharper, cloying, fresh blood, raw flesh mixed with decay, a stench of pure evil. The experiments didn't end. Something remained in the dark. Alive or undead, something waiting for me. Mr. Abernathy, he knew I'd find it. He wanted me to. A horrifying inheritance, a legacy of suffering. I scrambled out, heart hammering, mind screaming. I alerted authorities, my voice hoarse, disbelief in their eyes. They came, skeptical, evidence old, fragmented, journals dismissed as ramblings, instruments as twisted hobby relics. Official explanation, vague, unsatisfying, no clear answers, just shaking heads. They couldn't grasp the true horror. Mr. Abernathy was gone, vanished like his subjects. He left only questions and a chilling, unbearable void. The hidden basement was sealed, bricked up by professionals, but it felt like a bandage over a gaping, festering wound. I can never shake the feeling. Whatever he created, whatever lingered, is still there, trapped but not gone, dormant. Perhaps closer now, the floorboard sounds returned, subtly different, more knowing, waiting, a patient malevolence. My dream home is tainted, joy, fresh start, replaced by dread. I am a prisoner, haunted by what lies beneath. I live with the terrifying knowledge of darkness. It hides behind quiet lives, a darkness that never truly leaves. Sometimes late at night, I hear a whisper from the floorboards. It calls my name, inviting me back to the horrors. A soft, sibilant sound like dry leaves or something scuttling just out of sight, Abernathy's lingering legacy. I tried to forget, but the cold draft still seeps from the sealed wall, a phantom chill, a constant reminder. The empty specimen jars, the restraints, the tooth, etched into my memory, a permanent scar on my reality. Who were the subjects? What became of them? The journals hinted at new forms. The moan still echoes. Shadows flicker in Abernathy's garden. Imagination, or is he still watching? Is something still watching? My fresh start is a lie. This house, once hope, is a monument to a monster, a prison for my terrified soul. The basement is sealed, but horror isn't contained. It breathes beneath my feet, a silent, patient evil waiting.